Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Outstanding and terrific, but improving.
It's the No Hissy Fit Zone, people. Episode 24.
2 dozen, yeah.
We're like young adults over here.
Oh, sure.
Where were you at 24 years old? What were you doing?
It's funny because you asked that because when I was 16, I would
The
say,
question was, where were you when you were 24?
well, hold on. When I was
Oh,
16,
we'll
I'd
get
say,
there.
this radio was playing my favorite song. When I was 16, I'd say that. But when I was 24, I'd say, man, this bar's playing my favorite song. And now I say, this grocery store is playing my favorite song.
The world of music.
Music, yeah. Wow.
This elevator is playing my favorite song.
So Tom Brady is back.
Tom Brady is back. Are you happy about this?
I am. Jennifer Lopez only has to come up with 2 more rings to match him.
Tom Brady, the only guy to move to Florida to unretire. Oh,
So when he supposedly retired, right? The last touchdown pass that he threw.
can you imagine? What did that guy buy that ball for?
Over 500,000.
So this guy paid $500,000 for the ball that was Tom Brady's last touchdown pass,
Yeah, and right
and
now
he comes back.
now that guy feels a little deflated. Boom.
Man, we're a minute and a half in. We got 3 of those sound effects already.
That's amazing.
Plus, I had a joke with no sound effects that was good enough for a sound effect. So, yeah, this is exciting. I do feel a little weird for that guy who bought all this memorabilia, and him and probably many others. Unless Tom Brady comes back and never throws another touchdown pass.
You know something though?
What are the odds of that?
I really don't understand it, to be honest with you. To pay over $500,000 for a ball, I don't get it. Maybe he's thinking he's going to sell it and get more for it or something. I'm not sure.
I don't know. People got a lot of money. They get eccentric. They can buy whatever they want,
Huh. So this
It's like
morning,
guitars. You're a guitar player. You know the cost of some of these crazy guitars. I hear stories of band rehearsal all the time.
Oh yeah.
This guitar, that guitar. Mike Campbell from Tom Petty's band bought a guitar. I don't know the history of the guitar. Joe does, for $250,000.
Wow.
And Tom Petty's album, I think it was called Mojo, which was outstanding, recent, like 10 or 12 years ago. The entire album was kind of written around this guitar and its tone. So there you go, $250,000 for a guitar. I guess that makes more sense than twice that for a football.
So one time I went to a yard sale or garage sale, whatever you want to call it, and the guy had a real nice Les Paul. No, I'm not Les Paul. I'm sorry, Gibson SG that he was selling. $350, but that was a nice guitar, man. I says, "Why are you selling it though? You don't play anymore?" He goes, "Nah, right now I'm in a situation where I don't have any money and I need to pay the electric bill so they don't shut it off. So it's one of those things where I have to do. I don't want to do it, but I have to." I said, "Well, look, hold on to it. I'm going to go to the bank. I'll be back with some cash."
Wow.
So I went over with some cash and I gave him $500, not $350. And I said, "Here's the situation, buddy. Here's my number. You as soon as you're ready to get it back from me, just give me a call. I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to do anything with it. And you come and get it and give me the money. And we're even." So he said, "Oh man, really?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "Why would you do that?" I says, "Because I'm a guitar player and I wouldn't want to have to lose one like that." So anyway, a few months go by and he calls me one day and says, "Hey Tony, this is so and so. I don't know if you remember me. You bought my SG at the my yard sale." I says, "Yeah." He goes, "Is that deal still on?" I says, "Absolutely." So we talked about a place to meet, and I gave him the guitar and he gave me $500 back, and he was happy as can be.
That's a cool story.
Yeah, this one deserves this.
I got to tell you once again, on my end, my timing was outstanding. I just got to tell you, it was great. I'm not sure what it's going to look like in the video, but it felt good to me.
I got to figure out in the video how to speed up you by 2 seconds.
Was it off by that much? Wow.
No, it's not. So
I got to stop participating because the viewership is going to look at me and go, "This guy's got no time at all." So I got to stop participating in that little exercise.
So what a crazy week I had. I went to see The Foreigner.
Yeah.
And last night I went to see Get the
I
Light
got
Out.
your text. I got your picture. You got to get the lead out.
Yeah, you know what happened though? When I was walking over to the place, I saw this guy that I know that has played guitar with me for a few times, and he's telling me, "Hey, I'm not going to mention his name, but one of the guys from your band is here." I says, "Oh, I'm not a fan. I'm going to skip that." But somehow he told my buddy from the band, my ex buddy, that I was there. So he comes over with his girlfriend, and they're both drunk as skunks, and he's like hugging me, but like hugging me. And
This
I
is a
didn't,
member of the band come over to hug you.
yeah, and I didn't want that. I says, "Hey man, leave me alone. I don't want to be hugged by you right now. Just leave me alone. I'm here to see the band. I don't." He says, "Come on, man, I love you." And he's trying to hug me again, but it was like a belligerent drunk a-hole. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He wouldn't leave me alone. So probably about 20 times after that, I actually pushed him. I shoved him away from me. I says, "Stop touching me. I don't want to talk to you, and I don't want you to touch me, please." But he still wouldn't get it. So finally, after about half an hour of this bullshit, I had to move to another location because I couldn't deal with him anymore. Just a total drunk, belligerent a-hole. I couldn't. I don't know why. It's crazy stuff, huh? And then there's
Which instrument in the band did he play? Who is this?
drums.
Okay.
Nice guy, but
Yeah.
he always drinks way too much and smokes way too much weed. And just yesterday, just he hit me the wrong way, man. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Well, listen, this is a pretty fresh wound, so I get that.
Well, he's
And
the one
who
that said,
was it? You got a mutual friend who was there who said, "Hey, there's a guy from the band. He knows both of you."
no, they came together, yeah.
Okay.
But when he saw me coming in through the gate, he came over to say hi to me. Say, "Hey, Tony, nice to see you, man." I said, "Oh, thanks." He says, "Hey, so and so is over here." I says, "Yeah, I'm not a fan right now. I don't want to talk to him."
Right.
So I tried to kind of avoid it, but he told the other guy, "Hey, Tony's here." So
Yeah,
they came
I
over,
got you. I got you.
you know. And this ex-member of the band is the one that said to me when I talked to him, he's on the phone, he goes,
I
"Hey,
remember.
man, we're looking for a new guitar player. You know anybody?" I'm like,
Yeah, I remember. What an awkward way to approach a situation.
talk about tone deaf, huh?
What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say.
Yeah, I know. Crazy. This morning I went for a
So
walk.
more importantly, I already know the answer to this question. How was the band?
Awesome.
Crazy, right?
Crazy. I took a good friend with me to go see the show. He'd never seen him before, and he says, "Man, this is like listening to the albums with these guys." I said, "Yeah, that's what the deal is."
It really is that. Who was I talking to yesterday? Oh, I got my hair cut yesterday, and this woman I've only met her twice. She's a big music fan, goes to all sorts of concerts. We got talking about Get the Let Out. And it's funny you just said about who you went with. I said to her, because I've probably seen them 8 or 9 times at probably 5 different venues. And I said, my favorite thing to do now is to take people who've never seen them before
Yeah.
and just kind of, enjoy the band, but watch their reaction. It's amazing. So they opened up with rock and roll.
Wow.
Did they open with rock and roll last night?
No, he said that they always do a different set list because they says we can't play all the songs, so we always change it up.
So first of all, the idea that these guys know the entire catalog is insane in itself.
Yeah.
I heard a guy once tell me, and I haven't checked this, but I think let's say they do 21 or 22 songs in a set. This guy said they have like 11 or 12 that they always do, and then they change in and out 8 or 9 every set. So it's never the same, which is amazing.
Which is nice, yeah. So they started off at 9 o'clock and they didn't quit until 11:30.
Wow.
They
And they take a short little 15-minute break, but
That's what
that's
they
a lot
did.
of
Yeah.
music.
So then he was explaining how how they explained that you're probably wondering why we don't look like Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Because Led Zeppelin had 3 musicians on stage. But on the albums that you learn, all the songs that you learn, you need to listen to on the album, you can't reproduce that with only 3 people. So that's why we have
Right.
6 here. Kind of cool. And he
I
says,
like you said 3 musicians on stage. That's interesting because some people are going to watch this and go, that's not right. 3 musicians and Robert Plant.
right.
I like that.
So he was doing something.
Well, so this is funny. Robert Plant. So one of my new bucket lists, and I'm crossing a couple of bucket list concerts off my list this year.
Yeah.
Robert Plant and the Band of Joy.
Oh, they're good.
So he
Yeah.
was kind of a folky guy before Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And he's revisiting it with a band called Band of Joy. And so if you look up on YouTube, Band of Joy put an album out in 2010, which is cool, really cool, folky stuff. And now they're doing folked out rock versions of Led Zeppelin tunes, and it is beautiful. So my new bucket list is to see Robert Plant and the Band of Joy. But anybody watching who doesn't have their 2010 album, it's spectacular.
I've seen some videos of them playing, yeah. I think I actually saw a show on XSTV where there was like a whole show of the Band of Joy. But here's the deal: the guy, the singer from Get the Let Out.
Yeah, Paul Sinclair is his name.
Paul Sinclair. He was explaining why, we don't look like Led Zeppelin. And then he said, "Now this guitar back here," and he mentioned his name. Says he looks like who the second guitar player is on Aerosmith? Brad Whitman or something.
Oh, Brad Whitford, yeah.
So he says he looks like him, and the guy starts playing Aerosmith song.
Yeah, yeah.
It was cool, yeah.
And they've always changed up. They used to have a guitar player who I can still picture who looked a lot like Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue.
Yeah.
And he looked just like a matter of fact. And so he would play off that. And he always calls himself, "What's Howard Stern doing lead singing for this band?" Because he looks a little like Howard Stern.
He said that, yeah. So then I went to see Foreigner. That was an awesome show, man.
I bet that was amazing.
Every single song that they played was a hit that you sing along with.
I know.
And there was a guy.
And you don't know it till you're there, right?
No, and I've seen him before, but one guy behind me was singing. At first, I thought it was a woman because it was a really, really good singer. So I looked back and it was a guy singing with a beard and stuff. I says, "Hey, man," I give him the fist bump. Says, "You're a good singer, buddy. This is like I'm listening to stereo. I got the guy on the stage and I got you behind me. It's awesome." I said, "No, I'm just trying." He says, "No, you know all the lyrics. Obviously, you sing it very well. You should do something like that." He says, "Yeah, I'm thinking about it." It was amazing.
There's your singer for your new band.
The singer.
Just saying.
The singer.
Hey, speaking of singers, you have a friend and I have an acquaintance whose birthday it is today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
PB.
I was trying to stump you, but no good.
No, he's a good man, that guy. I like that guy.
Good old Paulo. That's awesome.
So
in his honor, I was cranking some of his album this morning. I actually listened to the whole thing this morning. Wow.
Good stuff, yeah.
I really am impressed with that whole album.
Of course, we're talking about Paul Betancourt. Paulo.
Yes,
Paulo
Flesh.
Betancourt.
I call him Paulo, but I don't know him well enough to shorten it,
So next to me, there's a railroad track, and next to the railroad track, they put a nice trail over there for people to ride their bikes and whatever. Nice. I went for a walk there this morning. I didn't have a bike, but I went for a walk, and there was a lady riding her bike, and I said, "Cow!" I yelled out, "Cow!" And she gave me the finger. She didn't think that was nice for me to say. And then within 2 seconds, boom, she plows right into a cow. I tried to help her.
Once in a while, you get me.
So a good friend of mine had a tough day yesterday.
Oh boy.
First his ex-wife got hit by a bus, and then he loses his job as the bus driver.
Oh.
Boom.
Wow.
Crazy, huh? So you want to hear some interesting news?
I think so.
The island of Santa Maria, where I'm from in the Azores.
Yes, the one surrounded by water.
That one, yeah, right there.
That one.
So the guys over there have been talking about it because America went to the moon, and they're saying sick and tired of America being the leader on everything. We're going to go to the sun. They said they're going to go to the sun.
Nice. I put them on the map, those Azores.
So somebody said, "You can't go to the sun, man. You'll burn up." He goes, "We're not stupid. We're going at night." Boom. Wow.
We're not all stupid, am I?
No. We're not all stupid, am I?
Jim Picard.
So two of those guys were carpenters in the Azores, right? Tony and Joe.
Two which guys? The astronauts?
Two of those guys, yeah. So, but back there, all they had was like, regular tools, saw and this and that. And they came to America and there's all these power tools. So over there, for them to cut a 2x4, it took them like 7 minutes, with a saw.
Yeah.
Come to America with an electric saw, just no problem at all. So they're working like crazy. And then when the Tony kind of bent over, they pick something up, and Joe missed with a saw and cut his ear right off. So Tony said, "You stupid! You cut my ear off." He goes, "Hey, take it easy. We're in America. Probably over there in the sawdust. Get the ear. Bring it to the hospital. They can put it right back on. No problem at all." So he's looking for the thing. So he says, "Here's your ear right here." And Tony said, "You stupid! Mine. That's not my ear. Mine had a pencil on it."
Wow, you've been writing. You've been writing this week. Mine had a pencil on it.
So you know how you like those famous quotes?
Yes.
This one: "Laughing at your mistakes can lengthen your life. Laughing at your wife's mistakes can shorten it." Wow, huh?
So I enjoy, as you know, I don't tell jokes when I speak and present, but I
Yeah,
use a lot of humor. I might use that, but the truth is, but I like that first part. Laughing at your mistakes can lengthen your life because I don't know. We got to relax and take ourselves a little less seriously.
I think so. Yeah.
So I can work off that in a positive way and then throw the other piece in and be humorous around. Laughing at your wife jokes can shorten it. Oh, I think I might use that.
So I had this thing where I was over at one of the famous stores. You know, I'm not going to mention the name because I don't want to. They're not paying for sponsorships. So I'm not going to mention their name.
Well, not yet.
Not yet. But I showed this guy in the area there, the electronics area, a picture of my pride and joy, and just about everybody loves that.
Yeah.
But he looked at me like I was stupid for showing him that or something. I said, "Okay, no problem." He goes, "Yeah, I'm not into. I don't have a sense of humor." I said, sorry to hear that, man. That's tough. The sense of humor is important." He goes, "Yeah, I'm not me. And I just want to live my life real. I don't want to be, I said, "Okay, no problem. Sorry." But, I'd never had anybody do that to me before. It was amazing.
That's shocking.
So either I'm a jerk or he's just not a happy person. I don't know.
I want to live my life real. I don't want to laugh at anything or
Yeah,
that's a surprising story.
really is. Yeah. So how do I listen to or watch when you do those talks? Do you record
What?
it when you speak at the colleges and stuff, or?
It's funny. I have a lot of people asking me that. And so far, a lot of the Zoom stuff I've been doing is like been closed groups of people where Boston College sends me the link. I do have a videographer who is doing some video of me in his studio and other events just for clips from my website. I'm doing a live event at the end of April for Rockland Trust Bank, but it's kind of an open forum where I can invite people. So that's going to get videotaped. So we'll have to figure something out.
When you do the Zoom meeting, do they create it, or do you create it, or you just
They
like?
do. They create it.
If
And the
they
last one I
create
did
it,
was pretty small. It grew 15, 17 people, and I wasn't in a position where I could, send it out to somebody else. It would have been a little, but I wonder the one I'm going to do in April, which is live, if my videographer, if we could figure out a live stream that would be cool.
so like when we do the Zoom meeting like this, after we're done, it actually saves the video
Right.
and then gives me a file. That's how I'm able to put it on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so that's theirs. I don't have access to that, but I could probably live stream the one I'm going to do live. That'd be interesting.
Well, they could probably share it with you. They could probably put it on a jump drive or something for you.
Hmm.
Hmm.
What do you think I should charge you to watch it? What's a fair price?
I think you can charge whatever you want. Whether or not you get paid or not is a different story.
That's a good point. How do you value yourself?
Oh boy.
Laughing at yourself and your mistakes can lengthen your life.
Laughing at your wife's mistakes can shorten it.
Very good.
That is
Very good.
Wow. Too crazy.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen, we are looking at springtime up here. Yesterday in New England, it was 70 degrees and sunny
Nice.
on March 18th.
That's awesome.
Spectacular. It's really hard to imagine. I mean, even the grass is starting to get that first little, like, look at how green that's getting, starting. It's hard to imagine snow after that. I'm not saying it's out of the question, but it feels like we're sliding into spring.
Is the snow all melted away yet or no?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
All right. The night before that, it was 50 degrees overnight, which is unusual. So
Wow.
Yeah, snow's gone. Spring is in the air. Spring training in Major League Baseball is going on. All good.
Very
Very
nice.
exciting. Very exciting. Oh, I was down yesterday, right near Polar Park, this is home of the Worcester Red Sox, not these
Oh, look
guys,
at
but
that.
Triple A. And there was a lot of construction changes going on in this area called Kelly Square, which is this rotary right off the highway on the way to the baseball park. Kelly Square is a funky place. There were five or six entries and exits into this rotary with no stoplights anywhere.
Wow, that's cool.
And there's so rarely an accident, it's kind of funny. And so I remember taking my daughter. One of my favorite memories is teaching my daughter to drive. I remember taking her through Kelly Square, like, okay, let's have a little, baptism by fire. But what they did with Kelly Square was they made it from a rotary, and they kind of made a double rotary. They called it a peanut. So you can, so it's, and I was wondering, wow, what buildings are going to get taken down? There's a couple of historical buildings. The Hotel Vernon, where our band played, they got a live music spot in the room in there called the Ship Room. Babe Ruth used to lease an apartment in this place and drink in the basement. And so I was like, they can't pull that down. And then out of nowhere, they start building a new building a year and a half ago during COVID. I'm like, what is going in here? And it's called the Worcester Public Market. And I met a friend there yesterday for lunch, and it was my first time in there. And it's a spectacular little place. The whole building comes to a point because it's on kind of a corner, but the Wachusett Brewing Company is in there selling their beer. You can sit there, you can sit outside the sidewalk, and there's kiosks of restaurants, everything from burgers, Mexican, Japanese, Italian, some other stuff I'd never even heard of, an Indian, and these fusion bowls, and there's an oyster bar opening up in 2 weeks. What a spectacular place.
Nice.
And it just confirms that for me, I feel like Worcester's been going in the right direction for 15 or 20 years, but this is just another piece to it, and really cool. But I really thought Wachusett Brewing Company, imagine these guys open up an area to sell. You can't buy retail and leave with like 4 packs to go home, but you can buy beer there. They have an old, like one of those 1950s public buses. That's the shape of this thing. And in that is the bartender with all the kegs and everything, and plenty of places to sit, plus out on the sidewalk. And these guys are 150 yards from the ballpark, where they bring in 9,000 people for a baseball game. I'm like, these guys are going to crush it, And as a friend of mine, Brian, I was having lunch with, said, after a baseball game, everybody just wants to get out of the city and get home. Yeah. Beforehand, they want to get in there and have a drink somewhere. This place is going to kill it. It's amazing. So
you mentioned the rotary and there's no accidents. Up there, there are a lot of rotaries, so people are used to it. When you come down here,
well, yeah, it's part of Massachusetts driving. I didn't grow up learning to drive in Massachusetts, but these rotaries, the rule is whoever is in the rotary has the right of way.
Right.
So you're coming into road, you're looking to your left, if there's a car, you're stopping. If there isn't, you're going, because people on your right are watching for you.
Yeah, but when if you come down here and you go to Clearwater Beach, for example, there's a rotary there, but most of the people here aren't accustomed to driving those rotaries. Right. So you can tell that they don't know what to do. It's amazing.
Yeah.
When I was young, I went to the Bahamas one time. We're in Bahama, and I rented a car, but they drive on the left side of the road over there.
You mean the wrong side?
The wrong side, yeah. So I'm going down the wrong side like everybody else was. All of a sudden, I get to a rotary, but you're going the wrong side on a rotary.
Oh, an opposite side rotary, I'd be confused too. My goodness.
And one of the local natives there helped me with some of their own tobacco over there. So I'm coming into this rotary from on the left side of the road.
Oh, their own tobacco, I get it.
You have to go around it, on the left, and there's people coming in. It was crazy. I was like, whoa, what the heck is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They make their own tobacco in the Bahamas. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. There was like 2 kids that were on the beach one day. I went with another couple, Terry and I and another couple. And the kids were cute and stuff and whatever. So this lady was walking by, she goes, man, you're really cute. And the kid must have been about 9 years old or something. He goes, You want to get one of me? I can show you how to get one of me if you want. Like, whoa.
9 years old.
9 years old, and the lady's like, huh? She didn't know how to respond to that.
Yeah. What are you talking about, kid?
Oh, so hey, I was at this downtown Palm Harbor, Florida here. It's a historic area where they had like a street art fair. A lot of the
Yeah,
local artists had the tents there with their own art and stuff.
I like
I'm
those.
walking down the thing with Terry, and one of Terry's friends is with us. And as I'm walking down, you walk at a leisurely, you know, speed or whatever,
Yeah. Strolling along, nice day.
yeah. And all of a sudden, about 15 feet from me was the singer of Oyster Bone, who was
Oh,
the orchestrator of the whole thing.
right.
Anyway,
How long
so
ago was this?
this is like 2 weeks.
Okay.
So when he saw me, because he was walking with his wife, and he was walking at a nice leisurely pace too, just like we were. But he realized all of a sudden there's no way to go to the next side of the other side of the road. So you know what he did? He actually put his shoulders back and increased his pace. Didn't look at me, just goes, Mr. Cabral. He just kept walking. Didn't even say hi, didn't stop, nothing. Guilty conscience, you think?
I'd say
Wow.
it's funny when people get themselves in awkward situations. They behave all sorts of weird ways. That's an interesting one.
So this one just sped up. I wish I could show it to imitate the way he did it because it was so stupid and funny. But so this one just wouldn't even look at me, and the other one was hugging me all night long. I'm like, what the heck? Come on, man, get your shit together, boys.
Wow.
Wow.
That's weird.
So what's cooking today?
That is weird. I got a list of things to get done today. I'm finishing up some stuff for taxes, and the band may be rehearsing from 3 to 5. We're still waiting to hear from Marco, not sure. I got to run around and do a few errands, and I got a little scripting to do, business-wise and job-wise, a couple of things to do there. And I got a good friend of mine. Oh, I'm so excited for her. She's very excited about this job. She just got hired by a really large insurance company here in Mass. It's nationwide. And she's a corporate trainer. And so she is starting in a week or two, and she is voraciously reading all she can on change management. And she really wants to impress when she starts. She went through 6 interviews to get this job.
Wow.
And I was with her and her husband last night, and I was telling her about a book, and she didn't know it. Patrick Lencioni has written a book called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And it's a spectacular book, but it's written in a novel form. And she didn't know it. And I'm like, you got to read this before, if you're trying to read and collect information before this job. So I dropped it off to her. And yeah, just kind of doing some running around. I kind of like these days with not a lot of stuff that there's a list of stuff I want to get done and will get done, but there's not a lot of regimented, it's not at all like a Monday through Friday.
So I'm not impressed with that author. If all he could come up with was 5 dysfunctions of a team, he didn't do good research. There's more than 5. Well, there are more than 5.
He should have called this, well, let me show you here. He should have called this Top 5. This is 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick. I've heard him. He calls himself Lencioni. I said Lencioni, but I saw him present at a convention out in Omaha a couple of years ago, and he was the keynote, and he was excellent. And I had heard of him by another friend of mine who presents on a lot of his material, but I wasn't familiar with him, and he was terrific.
Huh. Cool.
You would enjoy him. I'm sure he's all over YouTube or something.
Huh. I'll have to check it out.
That's my day. What do you got going? We got rain in 50s today after yesterday's sun in 70s.
Yeah. I think we're good here. I think, let me see.
What do you got going on?
No, it's cold over here today. It's 68.
That is cold. I know you're not being facetious and rubbing it in. That's cold.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 88.
No, it's 75 right now.
Oh, it was 68 when we started this a half hour. Now it's 75.
Well, you're throwing some heat that way.
It's all the hot air being produced by this podcast, I think. Oh, bump. I need some sound effects on my end.
So
Oh,
when I started doing the podcast originally,
oh, originally. I
yeah,
see what you're saying.
I bought this tool
Hmm.
that has all the sound effects.
Oh,
You can put four microphones on it, and it records the. So I would actually do it with a microphone, and my partner had a microphone, and then all that would go into an SD card. You take the SD card, and you have the audio and all that stuff. But the video I had was from a different camera that I have a Zoom camera. So now I had to bring up the video from the Zoom, which had audio on it,
huh.
and I had to detach the audio to attach the audio from the SD card on this thing. And if we don't think that was a challenge for me to figure out how to do that, oh my God,
I don't think it was. You're very techy.
I'm very techy, and I look techy, don't I?
Well, that's why you do the editing of the podcast and uploading it, and that's why you have larger revenue shares than I do, because there's extra work you do besides just the on-screen stuff.
I know, but this way, the way that we do it now, where I do a Zoom and then it just records it, I have to put it into another software thing to put in the intro and the outro and all that stuff in our
Oh,
music
I
thing.
know. I know.
So it's
Again, that's why your share of revenue splits are greater than mine. But I
it
understand.
is,
I
yeah.
do.
And I don't like taking a bigger chunk of it, but I deserve it.
It's important to believe in yourself and have confidence.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I'm not all stupid, am I?
You're not all stupid, am I? Oh my goodness. What do you got going on today down in the beautiful state of Florida, besides 75 degrees?
Oh, I'm just gonna take a nice leisurely afternoon. Terry's got a class that she's teaching today.
In home or outside? You're not getting kicked out of the house today, are you?
In home, she's doing it in home. Not really
Oh, you
kicked
are
out.
getting kicked
I,
out.
I choose to leave because
I like that. I choose to leave.
yeah, just to make everybody feel more comfortable if I'm not here. Because if she's teaching a class and then she does a great job doing it, right? If I'm near the room where she's at, I always have to go in there and tell a couple jokes. You know how I am. It ruins the whole thing.
I do know how you are. You just reminded me of a comedian who I got turned on to recently. You know Bill Barr?
I love Bill Barr.
I didn't know this guy. I saw the SNL. Anybody watching, if you haven't seen this, SNL did a parody commercial for Sam Adams
Yeah, that was funny.
Jacko Pumpkin Ale, the Halloween pumpkin flavored ale.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he's in it. And I'm like, who is this guy? And a friend of mine's like, oh, I love him. So I started YouTube and everything. This guy is cutting edge and really clever and really genius around a lot of the racial stuff like Dave Chappelle is. Really cool. But one of his lines, you just reminded me about I choose to leave. So I think that's smart. You already took your walk this morning. That was good. And so
Carl.
you got that crossed off.
Yeah.
Cal. So you have a leisurely afternoon. Oh, so speaking of walking, here's my last story. Serious note, because you know I love to walk. I mean, years and years ago, I used to run, but that was decades ago, and I've been bone on bone in one of my knees for 30 years, but no pain. And so walking is my thing. Like I'll put my earbuds in. As much as I love music, I'm usually listening to a podcast. So it's my learning time. And then walking is also partly some of my exercise. And quite frankly, it's also therapy for me. It's just good to just go.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I'll put like a backpack on with some waters, and I usually pack a little bit of food if I run into some homeless people or something, but I can get out there and go. And a year ago, I started having some pretty significant pain in my knee, and I went and saw my ortho guy. He did my shoulder surgeries. I had both shoulders done, rotator cuff, and they're phenomenal. So I went and saw this guy because all he does is shoulders and knees. And he took an x-ray of my knee, and he said, the average person with that knee would not be able to walk from their car into my office. And this was like 8 months ago. And I'm like, wow. He says, but you're healthy and you exercise a lot, and kudos to you, but it's inevitable you're getting a knee replacement. I'm like, oh. And he goes, let's see, we can delay this as long as we can with a steroid shot, and it'll be symptom driven. I go, okay. So he gave me a steroid shot end of last summer. and it's supposed to take about a week. And it was unbelievable. I mean, it just takes the inflammation out. And I was like a bionic man for the next 3 months. I went back for another shot at the end of November, and I was great for 8 weeks out of 12. But the last 4 weeks, which is all of February, were miserable.
Mm.
And so I saw him 2-3 weeks ago, and he goes, let's give you another one. And it didn't even touch it. But he said, and that's when I was under the impression that he'd be doing this surgery. And he was picking up on my misunderstanding. He says, just so you know, I'm not the guy who does this surgery. I'm like, oh, I was initially disappointed because I love this guy and I hold him in very high esteem. And he says, I do like the meniscus tears, but you don't want me doing that. You need Dr. Mandel for that. I said, okay. That's his partner. And he says to me, you want to meet Dr. Mandel just for a consult sooner than later? Because you're going to meet him eventually. That's what he said to me. So I met this doc last Friday and had the consult, and he'd seen the x-ray, and really good guy, young guy. I say young guy, I don't know, 40. This is all he does. And so I basically left that appointment with a prospective date for surgery this June to get this knee done. Because at this point, I mean, I can't walk. I mean, as it is, I'm limping around and hobbling around for work. So the idea of going out for a walk is just not there. So I'm looking forward to getting this done. It's significant, and the recovery is significant, but it solves all the problems in terms of all the pain. So I'm definitely on the younger side of knee replacement surgery, but it is what it is. He's like, you know, you're kind of out of options. So that's happening sometime, hopefully June. This is a funny story. So he does these surgeries at the hospital here in Worcester, and there's a surgical center over in Shrewsbury. And so I asked him, like, what's the hospital stay? Am I home that day? Am I spending the night? Not that I really care, but he said, well, it depends. Like, if you're first thing in the morning, you're home that day. But if you're later, you could stay over. Unless I do your surgery at the surgical center, because that's not a hospital. You have no choice. You're going home that day. I do 2 a day over there. And I'd rather see you over there. And I didn't quite figure out why, but I was a better fit in that location. He goes, I'm over there Mondays. So he leaves and he says, I'm going to send in my assistant. She runs my schedule. She runs my life. She's going to take care of this. And so I had a little time to myself in the office. I'm thinking, all right, the first Monday in June. Oh, incidentally, I had this cortisone shot recently that didn't touch the pain. But he said, because of the cortisone shot, we can't do the surgery for 3 months because the cortisone that's in there increases your chance of infection. I'm like, all right. So first Monday in June is June 6th. And I start looking at my calendar that week, and I realize, oh my gosh, on June 7th, Tuesday, Lynn and I are going to see, early birthday present to me, Paul McCartney at Fenway Park.
Wow.
Which is amazing to me because, as you know, now I'm a Beatles fan, like crazy Beatles fan, and I've never seen a concert at Fenway Park, ever. So I'm like, well, I'm not missing that. So she walks in, she says, so we're looking at 6/6, and I go, can we look at 6/13? And she's like, nope. And I thought she was joking. I'm like, I thought he did Mondays. She goes, he does Mondays once a month over there. So I'm like, oh, I kind of have a commitment on the 7th. And, you know, she's right in our age group. And so she's like, oh, gosh. And I go, all right, here's the deal. I'm going to see Paul McCartney at Fenway Park. And she's like, ah. And then I can see her like thinking, and then she's like, her gears are turning. And she's like, I got a great idea. And she's like, I can rearrange the surgeon's schedule, so he'll be over there. And she goes, I think I can pull this off. I'll call you. So I haven't heard back yet. But needless to say, I'm getting this knee surgery done in June, and I am anxious to get to it and get to the side of this and do the PT and all the exercises and get out of pain and start walking again. So long story, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
you mentioned Bill Barr. He was on the Conan show a lot. And
That's the best. If you go to YouTube clips, just Bill Barr Conan, because Conan can't contain himself. He laughs so hard.
It's crazy, yeah. And it's
Oh, that's the funniest part.
Yeah, I love those.
And Bill Barr's just there with the straight face, just telling these stories about, this is how I'm thinking about this. And Conan has to turn away. He's laughing so hard, like, and Bill Barr, he'll come right up to this line of like, oh, he's about to get really inappropriate, and he'll just turn it It's
Yeah,
amazing how he does this.
he's
It's really
masterful. Yeah,
good.
he's masterful at that stuff.
And rather than try, I mean, I wouldn't do it justice by repeating his stuff, but just YouTube Conan Bill Barr, it is unreal.
Huh. You a fan of Stephen Wright?
Yes, although it seems to me like he fell off the face of the earth. I haven't seen anything or heard anything for years.
Yeah.
He was big for a long time, but that was decades ago with his unusual way of thinking. He was fascinating.
How about Mitch Hedberg? You know Mitch?
I don't. I know the name, but I know nothing of his stuff.
Yeah, he died.
He was kind of cutting edge, over the line. That was my impression.
Yeah, but he was one of those guys that was all like one-liners. But usually the comedians have like a theme that they're talking about.
Like a Rodney Dangerfield kind of thing, one-liners.
Yeah, but he says stuff like other comedians were amazed by him because he'd go up there with no like the when I did that one show there, I had 9 different subjects that I was going to talk about, and each one was about 5-7 minutes or whatever. But this guy would just talk about anything. Like he'll say stuff like, "So the good thing about escalators is that they never break. If they break, they just become steps. Or they become stairs or whatever it is." So one
That's
time
clever.
he was at his apartment in California, right? And I guess he was listening to his music too loud, so somebody's banging on the door on the wall, trying to get him to thing down. He goes, "You got to go around. There's no wall in this. There's no door in this wall. You got to go around." Right? So after a few times that somebody actually knocked on his door, he opened the door, and there was a comedian that he knew that they had done stuff with together, but they didn't know that they were neighbors like that. He said, "Hey, it's you. That was a great line. You got to use that one. You got to go around." Yeah, he was amazing.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. I was down in Connecticut this week. I had to go to Connecticut Sunday night, and I was down there for 3 days of training, work stuff, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I was leaving Sunday at 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. We call it afternoon now because it's daylight saving, so it's light until 7 o'clock now. So I was thinking, what can I do with the keeper on Sunday just to have some fun?
Yeah.
And so, I found a really cool brunch restaurant. I surprised her with the whole day. She just said, "Get in the car," and it's all surprise. So we found this really cool spot for brunch in Boston, in the South End. And I bought tickets to this really cool small theater in Arlington. I've been there. I've seen King's X there twice, but it's a small, old-timey theater. And I bought tickets to an Elvis impersonator show. She's a huge Elvis fan. She's got no idea what this is. We get into the theater. Somehow I got her past the marquee without knowing what we were doing. And there was no posters inside the lobby about this show. And so we sit down, and we're early. It's like 1:30 for a 2 o'clock show. And people start showing up, and I can see her brain. I love this woman's brain. I can see this brain kind of working, looking around. And people start showing up, and they are way older than us. And she's like, "What on earth is this?" And more of them showed up. And the only thing on stage, this guy had like almost cardboard cutouts of like the old orchestra band with like the little people sitting back there playing different instruments, almost cartoon-like. And there was an acoustic guitar on stage. And she's like, "What is going on?" And so then this voiceover comes over, introduces this guy, Doug Church is his name, if you want to Google him, and mentions Elvis. And they start this soundtrack that he just sang along to. And he walks out. He's got the white suit on with the flared out things and the white boots, sequins everywhere, the perfect big black hair, these glasses. He looked just like him. He comes out, and he's got the strut down, and he's walking to the edge of the stage and pointing at the audience. It's all women, and they're all 80. And it's almost like get the let out. Like when you go with someone new, you just want to watch them. I'm watching her, and she's like, "Oh, like, what are we watching? This is unbelievable." And by the second song, these 2 old women jump into the aisle, and they walk down to the stage. This guy reaches in because he's got the cut thing down like this, and he reaches in and he starts to pull out one of the scarves he has on, like Elvis did. And they pull the scarf out, and I look at her, and her hands are over her mouth, and she just laughs. She cannot get over what we're at. And this guy went about an hour and 30 minutes straight through, and it was amazing. And then Lynn Googled him afterwards, and this guy's like whirled around as the impersonator who sounds the most like Elvis. He's been worldwide. It was a ton of fun.
Huh.
Ton of fun. And something was really interesting that I thought was cool that separated him. He's like, here's a song I'm going to do that Elvis never sang, but he would have, because the song didn't exist when he was alive. It was a song by Alabama, and he did it. And I'm like, wow, Elvis would have done that. And then he did another song that was certainly a spiritual, faith-based song. I forget the name of it. It was called Two Hands, I think. And as you probably know, Elvis is only, I forget the awards, the gold records, the big ones. The 3 he ever had were only gospel albums. That were all his awards, were all the gospel stuff he did.
Right.
And this was a beautiful, touching song. And he goes, Elvis didn't do this one either, but he would have. And I'm like, what an interesting take on an Elvis impersonator. And he did a great job with him. And ton of fun. And it was great fun. Elvis impersonator.
So you know my friend Gary Dubendorfer, right?
Yeah, I know the name. I don't think I've ever met him, but you've talked about him for years.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
I think I talked to him on the phone one day, didn't I?
Yeah, he's a great guy, and he's a good singer. Anyway, he was having a Christmas party at his house, so he invited me, and I'm talking to everybody there and stuff. And then this one guy walks in, and Gary says, "Hey, Tony, you gotta come meet this guy. I told him all about you. He's dying to meet you." So I go over, and he introduced himself. His name was Elvis something. I said, "Elvis, you got my wife's underwear. I want it back." There was like 20 people in the kitchen there, and everybody just fell out laughing. He was like, "What the heck?" I says. So Gary says, "See, I told you, you got to watch out for him."
Oh, Gary's there with you, even better.
Yeah.
Got my wife's underwear. I want it back.
Yeah, but Gary said to that guy Elvis says, "I told you about Tony. You got to watch out for him."
Oh, that's funny.
That's funny, yeah.
Wow. That was a good time.
We're coming up to the time where Terry's class is starting, so
We got to jump. I'm out of stuff anyway.
I gotta
Talked
shut
about
down.
Elvis. What else is there? I talked about the King. We finished right there.
Yeah, we have to.
24 in the books.
Wow. Great stuff, man.
See you next week, pal.
You are the best.
You are.
Ooh, perfect. That was perfect.
That was way off on my end.
No, it was good.
Like a measure early.
All right, buddy. I'll have this on up and running tonight.
I look forward to it, pal. I appreciate you, man. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
Take care.